Alright, hello everybody. Welcome to third Kitwars podcast. Today I have Nolan with me, and we're going to be talking about our newest map, Island. There's a lot of new capabilities that come with these kits. Sponges and pretty much any block building kits can just totally mess up the spawn points and everything that goes with this map. It's chaotic. Matches can probably go for half an hour at this point, half an hour to an hour and a half. It's a problem, but am I going to do anything about it? No.
That's right, William. I will not do anything about it either. And we have a special guest on the podcast. Haley, would you like to introduce yourself?
I hate you.
That's just a joke for comedic effect. Now we will play, and by play I mean we will talk about the game.
We will give Haley a little 2-on-1 practice matchup here because she's going to be joining us for our next matchup. Hopefully, Kitwars 14. Watch it on the channel sometime soon. Hopefully we have Matthew joining us as well. 2 new players would be fantastic.
Actually, yeah, Haley, you should get on. Buy a bedrock. That'd be nice.
I'm going to bed.
You don't have to buy bedrock. You already own it.
No. But did you ever make it through Kit Wars 13?
No.
What about Kit Wars 7 Part 2? Only 8 minutes. And I suggest everyone currently watching this go watch that one as well. It's fantastic.
But more importantly, watch Kit Wars 13 because this will make a lot more sense and some awesome matches.
Actually, Kit Wars 13 was really good, and some of the strategies in there really need to be talked about, like our very noticeable problem with Jesus now.
Oh yeah, Jesus is a problem now.
Yeah, Jesus no, get him out of your life. Remove Jesus from your life.
Frickin' Jesus is a real problem.
He keeps raising the dead, and it's not good. Like, there's demons and angels, whatever you calling them. I named all the zombies now. So I'm sure the name tags will help our lag problem. It'll fix it entirely.
Yeah, that'll make it a lot worse. Can you see those? You can't see those name tags through walls, right? Like, you can only see them when
not through walls, if you're hovering over them.
That's what I thought, because if you could see them through walls, that would be a lot of lag.
But that also, actually now thinking about that,
but if they have name tags, they won't despawn, ever.
Yay! That's exactly what we wanted.
Oh.
We've seen how beneficial that is. But I was just thinking...
to catch you, because I know you wanted to watch the Kit Wars video, and you just didn't have the time to.
Sorry for any spoilers that you didn't want.
Yeah, spoilers, everybody. Skip ahead.
Spoiler warnings for Kit Wars 13.
Just mute whatever you're watching on for a minute. Go like and subscribe, buy some merch, and then come back.
Or watch Kit Wars 13, considering I don't have merch.
Okay, I've been invaded. Hi Nora.
Oh, nice.
Do we have a new player for Kit Wars joining us?
Nice.
Nora's playing Kit Wars 14.
Hey, if Kit Wars, will you play?
No.
Aww.
Well, something I just realized.
To her?
What?
Will you at least say goodnight to her?
Good night, Nora. Good night.
Nora is appeased.
Why are you sending away our newest Kit Wars player, Nolan? We need Nora.
Because she needs rest so she can wake up in the morning and play for 8 hours straight.
True.
So, a recap, I don't know what you just said, but a recap of what happened. So, the biggest thing is we have this new map, Island, very fun, very proud of how it turned out. And the big thing about it is there's an Elder Guardian in the middle of this temple here. William, if you want to go and, show off where that room is.
Yep, I'm just going to do a little fly around, so if you want to keep talking about that.
Yep, so you kind of just twist through the temple. There's some air pockets, and most notably, in the middle of it, if you can find it, there's a Guardian. And yeah, and anybody who knows about Elder Guardians knows that if you go near them, you get mining fatigue, which is bad, because you can't mine for 5 minutes.
It starts really early on. From about the first grass block is when it affects you. This right here.
Pretty much. And at first, we didn't think it would be that big a deal, because players could just, skybridge over it. We thought it only affected you in the water, or at least on like some kind of ground level. But no, even if you fly above it with like the pigeon kit, it still affects you, which is a big deal because that means nobody can get around it. This becomes a problem when a player like myself goes in and starts placing blocks so that people can't get to the Guardian and kill it, which makes it essentially invincible.
Where I'm currently at, this is the only entrance point to where the Guardian is at, so you only need to get down to the bottom and place 4 blocks, and you have just stunted the game by half an hour.
Yeah, which is what happened. And Joseph, for anyone who watched the video, was very happy about it.
He loved it.
He had a great time.
Just like he
and
does
Haley, you
all
would
the
have
time.
a great time too if you joined.
Sure.
You know, I didn't really see the boats get utilized in this one. I was kind of hoping that would be a bigger factor. But no one really hid in the bottom layers.
I mean, that was kind of just a random thing we added in. I personally didn't expect people to use it, but it would have been cool.
Well, I don't feel like anyone goes down there, which just makes it easier to hide in there. People just have to remember that it exists.
Yeah. I need to play, you know, one tactic that could actually be used for getting to the wall? If you played Engineer, you could burn down the trees and get to the wall from the top. Kind of. Can you open it when the, yeah, you can open it right here.
Yep.
Yeah, you could just burn it down and then you're right there. So,
If there are leaves
Yes,
or
that's
fences
true.
above it, you can open them. It has to be a solid block.
yeah. So if players forget to replace them with solid blocks, I mean, you can break into them like that.
And a tactic that wasn't used last time but could also extend the game dramatically is if someone just wants to go around and punch all the kelp blocks out from the bottom.
That's true, too. That just feels obnoxious, though. I don't
It
think
is.
anyone would do that.
Well,
How hard
you
is it
know
to
we
break?
have some pretty
You're
annoying
underwater.
people that we play with.
Wait, do they just break if you hit them?
Yep, anything that breaks instantly, no matter like if you have mining fatigue or not, will always break instantly.
Yeah. It'd take quite a bit to clear those out, though.
Just
I'm not
holding
really
down the
sure
right
why you
trigger
do
and
it.
swimming would
And
do
you
it.
were intentionally trying to make the match go on for a while.
I mean, it could. They should all despawn after 5 minutes at least. So it shouldn't get any worse than that, but that's still 5 minutes where no one can do anything.
Yeah. But anyway, so that round when I blocked off all the entrances to the temple, I had a backup plan for how my players would get over to the other side and still steal the wall. Milk is an item in the game that if you use a bucket on it, it can get rid of any potion effects. And we actually have a kit that has cows in it. The farmer kit has cows for that exact purpose. So I made a little pit, put a cow in it, and then I think Adam, who was playing the Trident kit, which also has buckets, was able to use them, and we got over to the other side and theoretically would have been able to do it, but we didn't get a good chance to.
Yeah.
And we actually ended up losing because William managed to have a bucket as well and did the same thing.
And that also comes into play where Depth Strider is a really big part of this match, because Adam totally would have gotten away with that, except for our mobility was really good in there. I had Depth Strider, and Ethan was able to fly across the map and cut him off.
Yeah, we never were done dealing with Ethan. I think if you, I don't know how much the video will show it because it's from your perspective.
Oh,
But,
every 2 seconds I felt
Josh
like I was seeing
dealing
him
with
fly
him
across
the
the map.
entire round. What?
Every time I saw him anywhere, he was flying across the map. I was so confused how he didn't run out of rockets.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he has a whole stack, doesn't he?
I think it's 48.
I mean, it only takes 2 to get it only takes like 1 or 2 to get across.
Probably 1.
So, and the he definitely didn't cross 40 times. He crossed a lot, but not that much. But yeah, the mobility in this map is super good because even with like a huge advantage, I mean, we couldn't stop dealing with you, so it didn't really matter. But the thing I really wanted to talk tonight is, let's say you didn't have a bucket, what could you guys have done to get to that Elder Guardian and kill it?
nothing.
From a map design perspective, I do want there to be some way for that to happen. And if you'll come to the center, I had an idea that would take a long time, but I think would be worth it eventually.
Alright, and I did just check, including the crafter, there are like 5 different kits in which you can obtain a bucket.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a little bit of variety, but it's not fantastic.
And Haley, if you want to jump on Minecraft, you can join Minecraft and you can play.
No.
Why?
You could hop on the stream live and see our perspective right now.
You could. You should do that, actually. Give us a first view.
I am sleeping.
So just a heads up,
No,
this
you're
is
not.
the actual Kitwars map, so whatever you do, don't make it detrimental.
Oh, yeah. Don't explode anything, please. So, what I was thinking is, let's say, like, all this was blocked off. What a player could do is they could come in here, block themselves in completely, because I don't think any player is really going to take the time to get through here,
No, especially if you
just
crouch and they can't see your name.
and then spend their time breaking through. The problem is,
You can't mine that one, so you have to be able to.
you can't mine it unless you're actually in the water.
Plus, it already takes quite a while while you are underwater.
But, so, I was wondering, to make the map a little bit more impossible, could we, move these 4 blocks, like, one up?
Yeah, we could do that.
Okay, because that way there's a way for players, it'll take forever, but if they break one of those blocks, they can dive down and kill it. Because that's really what I want. I want there to be some way that players can still get rid of it. And I mean, there's ways that attackers could further screw them over, but I don't know. I just want there to be some way for the game to still be fair.
Yeah.
No.
No, I thought you went to bed.
I'm on body.
Are you gonna play Kitwars one day?
Okay. Just.
Okay, you
I've
can mine
decided.
it from here.
Waiting. If I wait.
So can you break that
Yep.
I just play Mara.
from the top up here?
Yep.
Awesome. Yeah, because they really only need to break one of them, and then they could just
can
dive down
through.
and kill it.
Yep.
Supposing they beat it in one try. If they don't, then they're kind of screwed.
Huh?
Yeah.
So if you're having someone do it, you'll want to... You need to go to bed. Bunny. You're right, you're not.
Haley, are you watching the stream now?
Nope.
Well, we have our first viewer then. Thank you to whoever it is.
No.
Maybe Dutch hopped on.
Yay, Dutch. So,
Dutch
was
is
there any
currently
other
in the shower,
ideas?
so that would be very talented of him.
I won't.
Yep.
I guess I won't judge for
You
anyone
won't
watching it. But so we raised up the cap of it, so that way we can kind of reach at that now. Was there any other ideas on how you had any like backup plans if it doesn't go right the first time?
I don't know. My only other thought would just be... I mean, my only other way of doing it would be changing up the design so there's more ways to get in, or maybe changing where the air pockets are. But I don't really want to do that tonight, because that would just take so long to remodel this thing. Because I think the look of it is gorgeous when it comes to just aesthetics, but I think when it comes to the reality of how the map is, it's not the best. Because it's so easy to block it off.
Yeah.
Maybe this weekend or something we can find a way to make it so that it's a little bit more open. Because I still want the Guardian to be in its own little room, but maybe we can make there more ways to get to that little room, and more ways to just enter the temple as it is.
Well, I came up with an interesting system. So,
Nara.
iron bars are pretty annoying to mine through, and they still have like that glass formation type thing where you can swim in between them. So on the bottom layer, I just put like almost a sewer grate type thing that you can swim up into.
Oh, okay.
But the thing is, you can still go to the 2 doorways and block those off.
Gotcha.
But it's slightly harder now. We could, however, do something with stairs, but you can't swim through a half a block gap.
I don't know if we really needed this, to be honest.
Well, oh, because they can still put blocks on the other side of it. Never mind.
Yeah. I mean, it looks cool, and I guess it doesn't, like, make it worse if you have it there, so if you like that, sure. Well, actually, no, it would be worse, because then if they just put 1 block down, they can't do it anymore.
Yeah, so they have to get rid of all 4.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing in our room? Don't you go up?
How long does it take to break a block when you have mining fatigue?
A very, very long time.
Like how long?
I don't know.
Is it like obsidian?
Pretty much.
I mean, that's not bad if you're only breaking 1. Or does does mining fatigue cancel out, efficiency?
No.
Okay. So if you had the miner on this map for some reason, I mean, that could still be good.
I guess.
Well, I think this might be a shorter Kit Wars podcast because I'm going to get off before too long.
Well, I still have other topics to talk about if you're good for it.
I'll stick around for 1 more. Pick a brief one.
Yeah, it's
And we
really
can
brief.
continue this for another time.
I'm just thinking more about the Jesus setup, because with all those zombies in there, like
let's go pop over the cavern real quick.
harming potions won't be able to do anything to them, and they can mine out the gaps underneath them. But if there's like a good barricade in there holding in the zombies, that could almost promote more healing kits, because those healing potions actually deal damage to the zombies.
You see, that's true, but if I'm playing a healing kit, I am never going to use a healing kit on a zombie, or a healing potion on a zombie.
Well, if you use it on yourself and the zombie.
True. But my thought process is those kind of potions are just a little too valuable to use. Because we still have that problem where those kits with potions don't have very many potions. Because just inventory space. Hopefully, I don't know what they're called, satchels, bundles, whatever the new item they're adding that is going to increase storage space, we'll be able to do that. Yeah, so the other map we played a couple days ago that went on for a while was this one, and 2 people played the Jesus kit, which has all sorts of monsters in it, and they flooded the geodes where the chests are with zombies. And that did 2 things. 1, it was annoying to try and get to the chest, and 2, it lagged the game a lot, which I didn't like the second one, but the first one was cool.
I think it was worse for you guys because we couldn't affect the lag until we crossed to the opposite side of the middle dome, but then it got awful.
Mm-hmm. And, I think that was the game you guys had, like, the swarm of Vexes as well.
Yes, we used all 3 of the spawners. We used the spawner in both the sections, like the actual dungeons, and put Vexes in those. And I was playing the builder, so I got to use the mob spawner in there, and I put it in the roof of the geode, and then I had, who was it? Was it Dutch?
I think it might have been.
No, it was Ethan. Ethan put his Vex inside of the mob spawner, which was in the roof of the geode, so every time someone got near the chest, it spawned more Vexes, which, you know, you can't see coming until they're punching you.
Yeah.
Because they're flying
And the
through
Vexes
the
were
walls.
honestly worse than the zombies to try and deal with.
And they were less laggy, which
And
was kind of nice.
So, to anyone, builder, great kit, great utility, that spawn, I mean, the chest defense on any map can work really well, but especially comboed with something that has any sort of summoner. And those are 2 kits that we really want to keep promoting right now. I mean, even though the summoners are a little laggy, we really like those kits because people don't use them a lot. They're kind of fun to see people play.
Which kid do you think can use the mob spawner the best? Because, I mean, Jesus, those Vexes are good. But the
Probably the Vexes, honestly.
the
I'm
Plague
not sure you
Doctor
can get much
also
better.
Plague Doctor also has the Wither Skeletons. What are other summoning kits? The Cave Spiders are kind of good, but they're not that good.
I think that's really it. We actually don't have too many summoner kits, just because there's not too much variability you can have with them.
I guess.
There is the Fisherman has Guardians, which
They do
would be
have
interesting.
Guardians. That would be interesting for Oh, how bad would that be if you put the spawner for Guardians inside of the temple?
That would be pretty bad. That might be worse than blocking it off.
Because you can't break it.
Yeah. So then the only way to deal with it would be breaking the roof of it, and that would be obnoxious to try and do.
But if you put it on the roof, oh my god.
I
That's just so
actually
bad.
need to go because my mom is starting to use the space down here for one of the things she's doing for her work. So I'm gonna have to head out for the night.
Alright. Well, I'll continue rambling for a little bit, but I'll have to see how long it
Okay.
takes until I run out of topics.
Hope you enjoyed the podcast. Bye.
See you, Nolan. Haley, are you still there? Nope, you bailed. Makes sense. So the next thing I'm kind of thinking about here is just looking around at this little pit right here. Another one of the things that I think the builder has, but I know other kits have available to them, is sponges. And although I don't want to really test it here, because this is the actual Kitwars and not a copy of it, one sponge right here, that kind of ruins it, because normally you have to like block it off and they can break through it and get back through. But one sponge, and pretty much all of this is gone, maybe a couple blocks on the edges which you could block out, but that now forces them to detour all the way through this pathway, or like make their own passage to mine through. It's just a whole setback for them, unless they're playing like specific kits. One of them that I try to remember to utilize but don't often do is the spider, which has the cave webs, or spider webs, cobwebs, in which you can land on the edge of to negate fall damage and then just quickly move out of it. That's not the best instance of it, considering it does slow you down if you mess it up, but it's better, well, it's better, yeah, because it negates fall damage entirely compared to the hay bale, which is still probably the best of them because it's minimal fall damage as it is. But something like slime blocks I find a little bit inconvenient, because you're kind of just forced to bounce around for a little bit before you can actually stop moving around and do anything effectively, unless you want to crouch and take some of the damage as it is, which is usually, like, it's significantly less than what it was initially, but it's more than you would have sustained from like a hay bale. Something else I thought was kind of interesting with the builder was using the railways, and you could connect some of the rails that were already there and use the powered rails as well as the mine carts that they have. They have 5, so if they lose 1 or 2, it's okay. And they can connect these pathways, so if you have just a powered rail hooked up here, you could start it off and get a nice little boost, which, if you keep track of your mine carts and pick them up, which is going to be hard to continuously do, but there's 5 of them, so it's okay, then you can kind of use those to run out throughout this main passageway, which is pretty good, because that's, I mean, it's a decent trek, especially if you have someone like running back with the wool and they need to get past someone. You just place down a minecart, they boost along, you stay back and fight the rest of them. So I'd say that's probably a pretty good setup. Builder just kind of has a lot of stuff in general. I haven't really gotten to look at a lot of them, because spoilers for Kitwars 13, but last time I played that, I actually didn't get to utilize it very well, because Snooketh, Adam, while he was fighting Ethan, I broke it, because I was concerned he was going to steal it, and, well, out of me and Ethan, he died, so he ended up, you know, being brought out of the picture, but he still ended up picking up the shulker box before he died, so I lost 3/4 of my kit. The only thing I got to use out of it was the mob spawner, which is really what I picked it for in the first place, but it's just a big part of the kit. So losing something like that is kind of annoying, and that's our first instance of the items from a shulker box being lost, which was a slight concern, but that also, you know, forces kits that have shulker boxes to be a bit more cautious with how they play the game. So the kits like engineer, no, miner doesn't have it. It's not too many. I think it's like 3. Yeah, so engineer, builder, not crafter, pigeon, and alchemist. So those 4. That's pretty good. Could consider giving the mannequin a shulker box, so that way they can get more snowballs, which is definitely something they need. But those 4 kits currently have to be a little bit more careful with what they do. But with the builder, just gonna quickly glance through some of the things that are in here. And during this matchup, Adam didn't actually use any of it, but it would have been really good. And something like those sponges that were in there were something that could have been used, but just weren't. And that would have been really problematic. The endstone and sand are really hard to mine through as well, and the iron bars, the chest can be collected under them, but trying to get through them is also problematic, as well as the wood. So they take forever. Like, if you need to have a shovel, an axe, and a decent pickaxe, so really you have to be weapons master. I don't think there's really any other kits that have that kind of variety in it without having to go out of their way, because you can like make an axe to deal with some of it, and you probably wooden shovel is helpful, but I'm not really sure if you would go out of your way to do that. But yeah, they can just layer it with so many different things, because you need a shovel, you need a good pickaxe, and you need an axe. 3 different layers that are really problematic, as well as the infested stone. So you could mix that in there with a couple of other blocks, they break it, and then the silverfish will come out of it. And if they try to attack the silverfish to defend themselves while they're trying to mine it out, they all come out of the blocks and swarm them. So a couple of blocks around the top blocks of the chest, and that's kind of it. They're forced to fight off a little bit. That's a good way to slow them down. And recently the builder was kind of made to be a cooperative kit. I went back into it and added a bunch of other things that are useful, like bookshelves. So now the crafter, when they get their gear, can enchant with it, well, to higher levels because of the enchantment table, because currently they can only get like level 1 enchants for the most part. The monster spawner was the one that has been seen, and that one's good with all summoner kits, which isn't a whole lot, but there's some out there. So there's fisherman, nether rider, which I don't know why you would duplicate striders, but still funny. XP eggs from the crafter, Midas, the farmer, if you need more cows. I guess that could be a good food source. Spider has the cave spiders. I don't think the cactus has anything. I feel like they do, but I also don't know. No, okay, that makes sense. Not having one for the cactus. It's totally reasonable. Plague Doctor has a couple of different ones. They have silverfish and wither skeletons, that's what it is. And I don't remember off the top of my head, but I think that silverfish should be able to, when they spawn, jump into stone blocks. So that could be really funny if you put down the mob spawner in the geode room, and then put down the silverfish inside of it, and they all collect inside of the blocks. Then you put down that infested stone on top of the chest, and once they break one of them and hit it, all the walls just start to collapse, and silverfish just pour in. That could be a good tactic to utilize. Jesus is really good with the mob spawner in that one. And you could get wolves as well. So it's actually a fairly decent selection you could use. And probably our most chaotic, if it's to be utilized, is the cauldron. So the alchemist is able to take arrows and use potions with them to, well, make tipped arrows. And normally, just by crafting, you can use 1 lingering potion to make 8 arrows, which is all they can do normally. But if they have access to a cauldron, such as from the builder, then, well, they can make 64 of any type of arrows at once. And damage 2 arrows makes it a very large problem because they can deal like 6 hearts, disregarding any kind of armor or shield, and just getting them with that's kind of bad. You can't do anything about that. And they have 2 crossbows, which I think have piercing. I'm not sure. Or it might even be quick draw 1. But using those, just 2 shots in a row, guaranteed kill if you hit them. Like, there's nothing you can do about that. You can't block. You have to hope that they miss, or block yourself off. There's no other defense. So, that's a really big play right there. Other than that, the furnace can be used, so I guess if the crafter wanted to smelt things faster, that could be a good use. Otherwise, it's just meant for the sponges in the bucket. They have packed ice if they want to travel around a little bit faster, but couldn't use blue ice just because that takes too long. It's not fantastic. Anything helps though. The scaffolding and the slime blocks are good for negating any fall damage, good on caverns. They're not caverns, canyon. And that pretty much covers it. Magma blocks are kind of nice. Could be interesting in island. I guess if you needed more air, you could... Oh, actually, yeah, that would be good. Because they have a decent pickaxe, I think. Is this cactus? Did I put this one back? Yes. But the builder... Okay, so it's a break 3, but it is an iron pickaxe. So if you go down there, use a magma block, and then just crouch on it, you kind of just have free reign down there. So you have a way to get in. So builders now become a powerhouse on island because they have the mob spawner, and if they have fishermen with them to do guardians on top of it, that's just a massive problem for everyone. And if they're not going to do that, they can use magma blocks. And the dripstone is nice if they want to add more fall damage to anything. So I guess canyon, if they wanted to layer the entirety of that bottom section right before the pillar, they could cover that up with pointed dripstone and make it harder for them to get down, and pretty much guarantee damage. So yeah, builder's kind of good in a lot of different cases now. Been seeing more usage out of the engineer, but mostly for burning things down. Like to be able to see more out of that, but it gives a little bit different playstyle. It's kind of nice to see the least commonly used kit now available to use on the least commonly used map, because Skylines is definitely the most popular usage when it comes to engineer. And I don't know if it's gonna be seen anywhere else, but why not? Castle, it can be chaotic as well. Burning everything in there is what clears the map. Definitely makes a different playstyle. But I don't think there's any other kits that have more recently been highly utilized. I've been playing Spider a lot. I like the chance to be able to use cobwebs right on top of the water pit, so that way if they're not paying attention they can jump down and land in those. The ladders are good because you can get back straight up to the pillar whenever you need to place the wool in. And I like being able to use the cave spiders and pile those around the chest. I haven't seen a whole lot of other people use that, but I'd say it's really good usage. And the farmer was the last one that I saw being used very well. And actually they have a good way to deal with the builders and stone logs and sand, which I didn't realize at first, but it's all right here. They have the hay bales, which is actually a good source of food if they really needed it. Bone meal, that makes sense. And I didn't see the beehives get used at all, but those are good things to use. Because if you finally get through all that mining fatigue, and you're just met with a beehive that you have to deal with, that's gotta be real great to see. What are they looking at for enchants? Just protection? Not bad. But as far as I'm aware, I think that covers it. Definitely all the things that there are for the kits. I removed these gateways here because they weren't really doing a whole lot of good for anyone. They look kind of nice, but I don't think they were worth what they were putting into it. Besides kits, the only thing that's really changed is there's now a bottom layer to Canyon, because I noticed that one, like, everyone just ran along the top. If you're ever going to the bottom, it was only myself for the most part, and it was primarily just to flood the bottom gate. Yeah, that's right, isn't it? It's not exactly a gateway, but it's good enough. So just coming down here and punching all of this out, that's also partially the reasoning behind me blocking off this lava down here, because that's something that people have seen plenty of times. Every time I'm on here, I try to do that, which has got to be really annoying. But I'm surprised no one has seen that and realized, let's get rid of the lava. I have seen it utilized in a very interesting way a while back, though. Jaden replaced the bottom blocks with terracotta instead of concrete, and since that's a normal building block that people use around it, you mine through that, you see the concrete, or not concrete, terracotta, and you think that you can keep mining, but you plummet into the lava. So I think that's really good usage of it, but having that lava there is, I don't think that's a risk factor worth it, because it takes a long time to clear out, especially when there's big holes around here, just caused by all that sand falling through. But that was a little bit of a side tangent. I came over here to mention how I added in these tunnels, because there's no reason to come down here other than messing up the enemy team. So now, if you got someone that knocked you into these pits, you can run around in here, try and lose them. I mean, you have more options to move around. It's not one straightaway path, because otherwise they'd know where you're going immediately, which is a little bit of a problem, but it's more of you just don't have the options when you fall down there, because you have to go all the way around to the one specific location, and it sets you back to the middle. Now you have a little bit more options, and you have a little bit easier access to the middle. I'm not really sure what that could be used for, but it could be interesting. Someone could run along here, put a pathway below, so if they put a slime block or use one of the cobwebs down there, which can now be used for making bows, because there are sticks available to them. Actually, fishing rods can be made in this now, which means I don't have to play drone anymore. I can play whatever I want and still be absolutely awful to everyone in this. Just collect the sticks, hop down, get all the cobwebs as fast as possible, because the other team does not need that, and easy fishing rods, which means this map will be terrorized from now on. I don't know if I want to deal with that, but I'm probably not going to. But you could place a slime block or some way of how you would normally get down to your pillar over here, run along to the first passage you see, which would probably be off to the side here, if I could figure out how to run. So there's a pathway there. That's a little bit harder to get to. That's alright, because there's another one over here that's also difficult to get to. But you get the idea. You go through one of these, cross over, drop down, and then you can build the pathway straight across and go all the way across the map with a decent chance of being undetected, because no one really takes the time to analyze name tags when they're right below them. Yeah, pretty much all I got to say on it. So that's a pretty nice change to the map. I'd say it works out pretty nice. Not really sure. There's railways down there as well that you could use, but I don't think you could use those for much. Yeah, that's all I got to say on that. Well, thank you for watching, and hopefully we'll see some of these strategies used soon in the future. I think they'd be very interesting to see, and definitely make for some annoying gameplay.